Hello and welcome to Media7. I'm Russell Brown. Later in this show we talk to Reserve Bank Governor Alan Bollard and ask what he really thinks of the financial press. But first, Jose Barbosa explains the first rule of Fight Club. Put it on in prime time.
Remember a while back when a spate of YouTube's school fights made the news? It was yet another round of look at the monsters you're leaving your hard-earned money to and God isn't society munted. And remember how the reporters tutted their way through the coverage, as if filming your scrapping classmates was just as bad as brawling itself.
We even found one fight clip put to rap music.
Oh, what a bloody outrage. Everybody knows the best music to set a fight to is Metallica, Master of Puppets. Yet for all the on-screen condemnation expressed at the time, the two 7 o'clock variety shows have both recently had a crack at recording their own smackdowns.
Teen girls terrorising shop owners. So where are the cops?
Tonight, a mall brawl in broad daylight. Would you shop here?
The story started as an article in the Dominion Post describing two retailers who said they'd been on the receiving end of girl gang violence in Hartman Place in Porirua. Sensing earthquake fatigue in the audience, reporters from both shows were dispatched to suck from the same sad saveloy.
One retailer says she's now leaving, she's sick of being attacked.
Shirley Zhu says she's been pushed to the ground and kicked in the head.
So the mall was awash with TV cameras that day, and it kind of showed. They talked to the same shop owners. They both talked to the mayor, the same policeman. Perhaps TVNZ and TV3 should have saved some coin and just chipped in for one crew because the stories filed were in fact identical. Oh well, I suppose you could say you get the same great coverage from both channels. Piss off. Unfortunately, we were really no closer to finding out if the mall was really a dangerous place.
I come here day after day and I do not see fights.
But then the amazing happened.
And what we were told wasn't happening happened violently right in front of our cameras.
What happened? She's been going around telling everyone that she wants to fight me. So I gave her a good hiding.
It seemed to confirm that every vice eroding society was involved.
She needs a good kick up the ass and she just got it.
Disaffected youth? Check.
What are you going to do now?
Go home, get on the piss and celebrate.
Alcohol? Check.
I'm a kickboxer, but I'm a Christian.
So all cut and dried, case wrapped. Except it wasn't.
The young lady in question who started the fight was arrested. When we spoke to her, she admitted that the fight was started because the cameras were there.
The rolling around on the ground and fighting in the street, it's not a good look, is it?
Well, as I said, Corinne, that fight was staged for your cameras.
So it seems as if the fight wouldn't have started if the cameras weren't there. But you know what? It wasn't Close-Up's fault.
Our camera was actually, as we heard Corinne say, inside the shop doing an interview when it broke out. There was a camera, I think, from another network outside.
And it wasn't Campbell Live's fault either.
Depending on your point of view, this was either the result of our camera being there or a prime example of the aggressive and violent young women who plagued the surrounds of Porirua Mall.
Ah, see, that cop just had a point of view.
You just ruined my dinner.
No, I didn't. That's just your point of view.
Is that just a point of view?
No, that actually hurt. No one's saying the reporters colluded to stage a fight to spice up their story. There does actually seem to be a problem here.
That happens on a daily basis. It was not only just last week when we had to pull up a domestic violence incident right here.
But if it's more serious than the usual big city law and order issues, we don't really know, because neither story investigated deeper than the initial report in the Dominion Post. And without that depth, this was just another hastily filmed schoolyard rumble, made with better cameras.
The real concern is the amount of people that stood around watching, looking for a bit of entertainment in their daily routine.
And that's exactly what we got. Ooh, you Vicar of Dibley.
Oh, yeah!
A very grumpy Jose Barbosa there this week. I'm joined now by two of the people you saw on that track. Inspector John Spence of the Porirua Police And Campbell Live reporter Richard Langston, who wasn't the only journalist on the scene at the mall that day. There were also crews from One News and Maori Television and a radio reporter. Well, welcome to you both, gents.
Thank you.
Inspector Spence, you've said more than once that the fight was staged for the cameras. How do you know that?
As you see, the police officers arrived shortly afterwards, after the fight. We spoke to the young lady involved, and we asked her, you know, why did you do this? Why did it happen? You know, did you act up because of the cameras? And the answer was yes. So it wasn't necessarily staged, but I think she became a little bit excited, and there was a fight. It doesn't happen every day in Porora City Centre. It's a safe city. There's retailers coming in, but it's been devastating for our people who are working under the canopies. It's hard work being a retailer today. You know, it's a tough environment, and there has been a perception of Porirua, you know, as a state housing area, and the police, the council, and the non-government organisations have been working really, really hard to say that it's not like that at all. Porirua gone made huge strides.
Let's be clear, you're not saying that the girls were put up to it by anyone.
No, not at all.
But the fact that it happened merely because there was a camera, does that not suggest there's something bubbling under there?
Yes, there is. Yes, I mean, let's be frank. You know, Porirua is like any other city. You know, we have our crime, we have our issues, and we have our issues and crime under the canopies. No doubt about it. And at the moment, the main issue and problem that we've been having is that the young people are starting to begging under the canopies, and when they don't get what they want, there's often a little bit of harassment. So certainly, no doubt about it, there are issues like any city, and we have it's a great meeting place for the kids under the canopies. It's warm, it's undercover, plenty of light, and it's in the middle of all the colleges, and so we have plenty of kids who that's where they mingle, that's where they meet.
So what specifically was your objection to these stories? Did they misrepresent the situation, or what?
They misrepresented the situation in the fact that people think that happens every single day under the canopies and that it's unsafe, when it's not. It's a safe shopping area. We've got new retailers coming in, got a brand new big retailer coming in, the Red Rat stores. Spoke to those people today. He thought the under the canopies was great, that there was beautiful weather today, people were bustling, there was a lot of people around, and you know, certainly no doubt about it, there are problems, there are issues like any city, like any place where young people gather, but to the extent that was portrayed that it happens every single day is just not true.
Do you think you did that, Richard? Did you give the impression that it happens every day?
Well, I interviewed a person who said it happened every day. Now, she was using the vernacular. I took that to mean this happens regularly. We can't take something like that literally. That story was filmed in the heat of the moment, and people spoke in the heat of the moment. So there was a lot of heat in the story. I mean, that's a fact. Now, interesting, our reaction to that story in our emails that we got a lot of emails. We got criticised for showing Porirua in a bad light. Well, sorry, you know, we're not in the business of showing places in good lights when bad things have happened. We can't do that. I have done nice stories about Porirua. This wasn't one of them. And we also got an email anonymously from a shop owner there saying, I've had death threats. That's how bad it is here. I've had death threats, and that does happen regularly. So, you know, there are two things going on here. There are people, you know, the establishment is probably trying to show that, look, it's not as bad as that. And I accept it's not as bad as that every day. But this is an area with a problem, an underlying problem of violence and dysfunction. And we got that from other emails from people who'd shopped there, from other areas of Wellington who'd gone there, who were shocked to be confronted by people who were begging for money, but also insinuating, if you don't pay, there might be a problem for you.
But how much of your item was the 15 seconds of fight scene that you had played 3 times? You played it 3 times. Is that not just going for the spectacle? Were you really doing a story, or did you have some good fight pictures?
We were doing a story about something that is real. Now, what was really unusual about that story was we went there, we were filming what was a very quiet Tuesday morning in a mall. I went to talk to the retailers while the cameraman set up the camera to shoot some pictures of people walking through a mall, which is not exciting television, but nevertheless, we were looking at doing a story. I spoke to 2 of the retailers and they both gave me the impression that they had real problems. 17 burglaries in 5 years, one of them. The other one had had 3 members of her family beaten up. I think we're talking about a substantial story at that frame. We have a framework of a story. Suddenly, the quiet morning turns into, well, I think 2 women are suddenly shaping up, pairing off. And I'm thinking, well, this is probably going to go for 10, 20 seconds, it's going to stop.
We've got a report from Ken Douglas, yes, the Ken Douglas, who's got an office there. He said he saw 2 girls who called over to some boys, said, what's going down? The reply was that TV wanted to film a fight. The response was, fine, when do we start? Was that your crew?
No one said TV wants a fight to start. We were filming there legitimately in a public place, and no one... Well, no. That's an overexcited gang member or somebody saying... It's completely... I never spoke to anyone. I didn't speak to either of those 2 girls, so how could I put them up to having a fight? I hadn't spoken to them. I'd never seen them.
So what you're saying is it wasn't your crew that said that. If anyone said it, it wasn't your outfit.
Well, I know that. I know the other crew from Māori television, and the cameraman was put off because a girl was acting up. One of the girls who would eventually have a fight to their camera, and they were trying to ignore her while they were doing an interview. So it was the exact opposite, actually. Then suddenly, these 2 women came together, shaped up, and had I couldn't believe it. I thought, no, they're going to stop because it's going to be posturing, posing, and that's going to be the end of it. Well, they had a full-on fight.
Well, I have to say, Inspector Spence, some of the people we've spoken to have suggested that you are, for understandable reasons, cheerleading for... the area, cheerleading for Porirua. You don't want it to look too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to deny that. I've been at Porirua a long time. I started there in the police. It was certainly a different place then, in 1976 when I started, than it is now. It's moved forward in huge steps, but there still is that perception. And we're not denying that there are issues and problems under the canopies.
The own police research shows that, doesn't it? You did the report which shows 80% of the assaults and trouble caused under the canopies are caused by girls between 12 and 14. That's a pretty major point.
We have to go now, Richard. Quick answer, what's your follow-up to this story?
Well, we're probably not going to do one because we'll be accused of being gratuitous.
Yeah.
Showing violence again.
We'll move on now. Thank you, Inspector John Spence and Richard Langston. After the break, the Reserve Bank Governor has written a book. Thanks, guys.